All right, here we go again with another episode of Press Release Podcast. I'm your host, Sherwin Glosson. To my left is my host, Tommy Ingram. To my right, your left, my host, Cornell Harris. Fellas, how are you doing today?
Wonderful.
Beautiful.
Another
Everything is
week
beautiful. Yes.
above the dirt,
That's right.
right? We get to kind of do it again.
Again.
And I love it.
Again.
Hey, coming at you live from the Everything Media studio here in Augusta, Georgia.
The big G.A. Augusta.
Man, so the last time we left off, man, we were talking about a lot of different things.
Yep.
You know, and really it was a mixture of community, business, and sports. A lot of different little, lanes we were in. But today, we get an opportunity to share a little bit more about us.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Interesting.
Kind of
Yeah.
why are we even doing the Press Release Podcast?
Wow. Yeah.
Kind of our journey, experiences, not only just in our individual lanes, but community, business, and sports, but like just in life in general. We all veterans.
Mhm.
That's a lot people
Yeah.
don't know about it, right?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of veterans watching this show and just kind of understanding why are we doing this and what benefit are we bringing
Okay.
to them as far as our listeners, right?
Very
I like
true.
that.
So
I like that.
let's kick it off, man. I do at least want to say this right here, all right? The playoffs are going on. I know this is your lane, right?
Malane.
Sports.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on what's
Let's
happening so
go
far?
ahead and get that out of the way, man.
Let's go ahead and get it out of the way real
Let's
quick.
go ahead and get that out of the way.
What's your thoughts, bud? I need to know what your thoughts are.
There's a changing of the guard happening in the NBA.
Absolutely.
And the NBA has got young. Forever, I think the more mature stars were the main attractions, but now the youth have taken over and the guard is changing. Anthony Edwards in a couple of days it'll be then put out LeBron, and Steph kind of put out himself because he hurt.
Yeah.
So I just believe that we're seeing the changing of the guard in the NBA. Looking forward to it, and I think in the next 2 to 3 years, it's just anybody can win it. Like this year,
Yes.
anybody can win it. I mean, Minnesota can win it. OKC, I think the Western Conference Finals is going to be OKC and Minnesota. I think OKC will beat Denver. And then I think that's in the Western Conference, and then in the Eastern Conference, you're looking at New York and probably Indianapolis.
Yeah.
The Pacers and the Knicks.
It's most definitely a different matchup this year than what it has been in the past, and I think some of them fellas who been in the league for a while just need to go ahead and sit on down and let the new gen come in, man.
I think the King is going to give us one more year.
I think you
got to get a farewell tour.
He got about 3 more years.
Yeah,
I
I think next year is
Charles
is
Barkley,
it.
Jordan, he played till he was 60.
Yeah.
And then, knees was bad and everything. But what I'm saying is this. Them guys ain't going nowhere. Steph Curry. And LeBron, that's my guy. You know what I mean? So,
50 though, right?
Nah, he 40.
40.
He
Oh,
40.
my bad,
He's
my bad, 40.
He'll be 41.
so he need to get more points as he can. Keep getting them points. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So can't nobody catch him.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to catch him unless they change the 3-point line, which I doubt that. It's always talk of some ridiculousness, but
Come on, like a 5-point line or something?
4-point, 5-point, whatever they want to
When
do.
nobody be to make it but Steph Curry, he better get rid of it.
When he finna retire,
That's what I'm saying.
I think
Is
Steph
that
about 2 or 3 more years.
Is that
I
a real
think,
thing, though? A 4-point line?
I'm thinking why they wouldn't do it in there already.
Well, they don't need to do it, but I mean, you got to think. I mean, 40 years ago there was no 3-point line.
True.
I think if you, it should have a 4 and a 5-point. If you make a from the half point, anything across that line, that's 5 points, man. Anything close to that logo, that's 4 points.
That most definitely will change the game.
It would change the game. Just think about somebody hit a 5-point
It's
shot,
not better
man.
than defense now.
Game, I wouldn't even look at basketball anymore.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even take basketball serious. Now,
Might as well be watching the
you talking
Globetrotters,
about
man.
you talking about a clown show, man.
No,
you know
man.
what I'm saying?
And a lot of people won't make that.
I don't even like
but,
that.
But you know what? They happen. They'll try to make too many of them.
Yeah,
Some people try to make.
it'd be
I'm
ridiculous.
curious to see what these ratings have been. I have not had a chance to look at them since LeBron kind of fell out.
I think they've been up. I mean, LeBron has been in the league. 21 seasons, 21 seasons. I mean, I think that the ratings have been up because people like the young stars.
Who the number one player is right now, though? In the league, who is the number one player?
AE is that dog.
Well, you think so?
Oh, I believe so. I know.
I think old boy from KC.
Nah,
man.
I can't put nothing past him because I just kind of really discovered him myself.
I mean, Anthony Edwards is that guy. I just don't, I think some of the things that he do off the court, he doesn't want to be the face of the league. I don't, his maturity level, I think he's there. He's a leader. He has a will to win. But I think, man, this is what I think. This is my take on NBA.
And we're going to transition.
Okay, we're going to transition out this. But this is my take on the NBA. I think that everyone wants someone to be like someone else. And I think LeBron is the only one who came around and he was totally different. And so AE reminds people of Jordan because he favors him. So they're like, oh yeah, he looks like Jordan and he does this like Jordan, but he's always going to be in that, you know what I'm saying? Everybody wants that conversation of that type of greatness where LeBron has been that antagonistic approach where he's been so different, but you have to respect it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Jordan left his footprint and his handprint all over the NBA. Hence his proteges like Kobe and all that good stuff.
He was a unicorn. I mean, there was no other guys that had that athletic ability.
Absolutely.
Now you have a league full of people who have the same athletic ability, So, I mean, it's just changed. He was before his time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Kind of like Michael Vick in football. He was the African-American quarterback that was mobile. That was before his time. And if Michael Vick came along now, I mean, you seeing it in Lamar Jackson.
Well, they said that about me when I played high school ball. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. I thought I'd throw that out there.
What school? The Purple Hurricanes. Of Burke County.
Burke County, yeah. Waynesboro Hurricanes.
Yes, Waynesboro.
The Bears.
The Bears.
So Tommy, what's going on in the community, man, and around what you've been seeing, man, that's going on around this area and even around the country? What's new, brother?
I would say what's new is, AI is new. And I think that's something that we need to put in the forefront. I know people are kind of upset with AI. I'm not. I think it's a great opportunity. Especially, I always thought and felt like our students are AI. Y'all know I'm going to bring that up. I love the students. So
I love them kids.
Yeah. Love them. So they're intelligent. I think at this point in their lives, they don't realize that they're AI. Because we all had an identity. Yeah, we came out.
True.
We figured out whether we're gonna go in the military, we're gonna go to college. But they don't really have, to me, at this point, an identity of who they are. To me, of course, I think they're AI. So if I would say anything that's important right now, that's in the community that we need to pay attention to, is that artificial intelligence. Yes.
It most definitely makes life a little bit more easier and efficient for a lot of different things. It's kind of a cheat code in a sense. Well, but when you don't have to figure it out and put the think tank to it or the brain power to it, like you said, it does kind of jade trying to create your own identity. Well, so I get what you're saying.
Right.
So, what I bring, man, is that, we do got a 90-day pause on the tariffs. You saw that?
Man.
Got a 90-day pause on the tariffs with China.
Okay.
All right. Which most definitely helped the stock market make a great bull move in the past 24 to 36 hours.
It's a game, man.
Hey. So you said 90 days. Does 90 days mean 90 days? 90 days mean 9 days? Because 90 days mean 90 minutes.
Well, listen, they met with the Secretary Treasury over the weekend over in the UK, Trump and Secretary of Treasury, as well as the UK and also China. And which when it came out of that deal was 90-day pause, and they was able to get a deal done with the UK. China is a big thing. It's actually helped move the market a lot year long with the pause, with the maximization of the tariff being 145%, which really tanked the stock, right? And people started moving money kind of around places. But with this pause, it's helped a lot of the stocks actually get back going. And, China being one of the top 3 countries that we used for import and export outside of Mexico and Canada. It's a big deal, you know. China being kind of like the third largest importer and exporter of services goods. But I understand what the administration is trying to do with as far as bringing more jobs back here, because it does create more opportunity. Well,
but it's getting you used to paying higher costs for goods. So therefore, we all know that when it comes to the United States, we're gonna pay higher costs for U.S. goods because of, you know, the industry of how much you pay people. So you're gonna pay more,
and that's exactly why, you know, a lot of stuff outsourced is because you're right, the labor here is cheap, but it's cheaper in
but it's
the
gonna
other
be
countries.
harder for people to establish themselves, generational wealth wise. It's gonna be so families that don't come from anything, it's gonna be even harder for them to establish themselves in the country.
I think it's just if that is going to be the kind of the way that the U.S. is moving towards when they talk about bringing business back here, it's going to take time. Yes, there are a lot of multi-billion-dollar companies who are looking to invest billions of dollars to create additional infrastructure to take it from overseas here, but it's going to take time for that. Can't nobody just throw up a manufacturing facility in 90 days.
Yeah. I just look at like the stuff that you're going to pay for is going to be double. In the long run, it's still going to be double. It's just the mindset of, it's kind of like it's trickery. Okay, let me take something from $5, let me make it $25, but let me bring it back. And then you're just thankful for now it just being $10 instead of being $25. But then in a couple of years, what it's going to do is going to be $15 and then it's going to be $20. It's just a quicker, you know, it's not gradual. It's just going to be quicker to, your pay is not going to equate to, I mean, and you're the business guy, but I'm just saying it's not going to equate over time.
I got a question, Mr. Businessman.
Go ahead. What's up?
So suppose people decide they ain't going to buy anything. Suppose people say, you know what, I ain't going to buy no car. Suppose people say I ain't going to buy the food. I'm going to go ahead and I got a farm. I'm going to do agriculture. I'm going to grow my own food. I'm not going to buy any more clothes. I'm not going to buy any more vehicles. I'm just going to stop buying because everything is too expensive. They're playing games with terrorists. They're playing games with people's money, people's lives. They're playing games with school, teachers' jobs, and all kind of jobs. So guess what we're going to do? We're going to back off, let them play the game, and we ain't spending no money, so it's going to crash. So now people, all the cars that's coming from China, all the food that's coming over here spoiled, so people ain't making money anyway. So if the cars are not selling and people saying, you know what, I'm going to go back to the way things used to be. I'm a build in my garden. We're not going to go out and have all the expensive restaurants anymore. We're not going to be able to go out and have a good time, then give tips to the waitress and everything. So we're going to chill until they figure it out because they're taking advantage of the people. They got people stressed out, you know, so people are aggravated. They're getting rid of jobs and everything like that. So we're talking about the terrorists, but it's more than the terrorists that people are dealing with. A lot of people are completely stressed out. And like you were saying, if things going from $5 to $10 to $25, then next thing you know, they're going to go out to $15. But people are going to say, you know what? I'm tired of playing these games with these people. I want to live a very simple life, and I'm going to break this down. I'm not going to spend none of my money.
But that's certain goods and services, right, that you're going to see the increase in. But you got to look at some of the things that are essential, you know, need and want, right? Whether those things that we need every day, are we actually really looking at what the decrease of that cost has been? You know, you talk about gasoline, that has been coming down. You know, that's an example of using our resources here because we have an abundance of oil with the country itself. But, you know, like I say, when you talk about, you know, $430 something billion of imports coming in from China, you know, another 500 billion coming in from Mexico, and there's a tax that they are taxing us to bring it into the country, then I think the self-sufficiency of us as U.S. citizens in the U.S., if we do find alternative ways to produce our own, right, then you find a certain balance that may happen in the actual U.S. But I think it's on a very small scale, though, because we have agriculture here, but then when you think about it, a lot of it comes from Mexico and China.
Yeah. But I mean, unfortunately, sheep are going to be sheep and shepherds are going to be shepherds. So, sheep are one of the most, I don't want to say dumbest creatures, but sheep will follow each other. Like if one sheep jump off the mountain, other sheep's going to jump off the mountain. That's why you got to have a shepherd there. But it's according to who the sheep are following. To go back to make my analogy and piece it together, I think that there's going to be a great disparity in growth. I think
just say a great disparity and gap between the classes.
It's going to be huge because people who are like me, right? I could go play and dibble and dabble in the stock market all day, but it doesn't matter if food that I'm going out to eat to do stuff with is going to cost more. Then really I'm in the same place I was 10 years ago. It's just I'm spending more money. You kind of get what I'm saying? Like you could take like today, a job making $60,000 is a good living. But if prices go up, who cares if you're making $90,000 because you still living like you're making $60,000.
Right. Yeah.
So it really doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is the elevation of how we are and how we live, if that gap keeps getting greater, it's not going to matter. It's just like gas prices. Gas prices low now. Let's not kid ourselves. Gas prices low now because a lot of stuff is unaffordable. So people are not moving around. It's, when people move around a lot, gas prices shoot up. So if people vacation a lot, gas prices shoots up. But if people decide, hey, you know what? I'm not going to vacation, then gas prices are going to be low. Like the stock market during COVID. When the stock market was down, gas prices was down. But soon as people start spending money, gas prices going to rise. And so that's what's going to happen. I just don't like the mentality that people say I'm broke when it's the same stuff going on over and over. And then it's just their mindset that I'm just broke based upon it may not be going the way that I think it's going. So it's really psychologically, it's fear. You know what I'm saying? It's more fear than, do I have freedom? I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. And this is community, business. But in America, I think that we have more fear than freedom. I think we got the wrong F. And we basically are losing our faith.
Fear of what though? Is that the fear of missing out or the fear of being left behind?
The fear of prejudice, of a prejudging nature, that things won't be fair. That I think there's a mindset in America that certain people only work hard. And we all know we're professional.
Yeah.
The more responsibility you have, the less hard work. Your work changes in a direction. So the more money you make, man, you don't do the grunt work. You know what I'm saying? You have more responsibility.
No, the consumers, that's what
what you say?
we're the consumers, right? I know you finna say something.
Oh man,
but what us being the consumers,
we all have our. Let me just be straight up. We all have our rite of passage and our rite of choice, right? Of what careers and what paths we go after. And there's like you say, this is even tapping into you of having these opportunities out here, in these different inner cities, every different state, all around the country, right? We got to find the opportunities to give us the best chance to survive, and make a living for ourselves and for our families, right? But what you choose to go after is based on how you prepare yourself to go after those jobs or those businesses, things of that nature. So there has to be that level of pursuit of education, training, and really at the end of the day, it's desire. So you can't, when you talk about the difference of categories of people making this, making that, yes, there is some oppression that has happened. All right. Yes, there is some doors that may not necessarily open for certain folks, right? But I truly do believe, just by working from the entrepreneurship side and on the corporate America side, that if you prepare yourself, put yourself in a position that you can find a good living
Okay.
in certain areas.
I want to ask you a question.
No, let
me say this right here.
Go ahead.
I want to say this right here real quick because what we're dealing with is this, right? We say an opportunity, right? Opportunity the Constitution, we mentioned that by law, we are supposed to make sure that everybody go to school. That's law, right? That's the part of that, people are supposed to be getting educated up to a certain age.
Shout out truancy.
Same thing, we're so concerned about the unemployment rate, which means to tell people that the America is supposed to make sure people have jobs, right? So now I think and I feel that America have not prepared people to be in a position to be employable, right?
I can agree with you on that.
Because of the change that's going on, the education status and what we're doing in schools, a lot of people dropping out of schools. Why? I don't know. Not just blacks, but across the board, people are dropping out of school.
No, you're right.
So now with the AI, with the robots and everything like that, so now we don't have teachers. So what's that going to do for the teachers? What's that going to do for different people saying, okay, we're going to get rid of the teachers, but okay, now you got rid of the teachers, you got robots, but now who going to make up that income for the teachers? Who going to make up the income for the federal workers that's unemployed? So all of this going on, and we talking about robots taking over. We're talking about all these different things that are doing, and the economy is supposed to be leveling off because of the terrorists. But it's affecting the United States of America negatively because us as consumers, we're not going to have no jobs. If we don't have no jobs, we don't have no opportunities, then with the robots, they're not real. They don't eat. They don't drive. They don't do anything that we have to do to take care of our family. So where are we going to be at if these things happen and people decide, you know what, I'm just going to chill?
Tommy, that's a great question. And that's honestly been one of the questions that I have as well. If AI and robotics take over, even down to the fast food, we already know it's already been introduced into the manufacturing and the industrial sites, right? Where a lot of people, man, not only from this area, but across the country, we are an industrialization country. We are a large manufacturing country, right? And these CEOs and business owners, they are actually introducing AI and robotics into the actual production of things. Where does that leave the blue collar, right?
Right.
And so you can, in my mind, I will say, okay, well, they need to learn about AI and robotics so they can be the person that's in position to fix it, work on it, troubleshoot it, whatever, right? To just say, hey, I can be able to, keep my job, or, I can go from being an actual production worker to now managing all of this, these robotics and things of that nature. But that's a very small number. Because, if you got 100 people in the factory, and you reduce the force by 50%, all the other 50% they got to let go. All of them not going to be working on AI.
Right. Absolutely.
So you're right. There is some places you have to find them, and then then you talk about the entry level stuff. Stuff like fast food and things of that nature. They're introducing AI and robotics into that. But why? Is it because people don't want to work?
And that's just been the untold untruth, or the told untruth. I think for a couple of years ago, it was like, man, it's too many jobs, it's not enough workers, and I didn't necessarily believe that was true, but I think that was an easy way to introduce AI.
Oh, absolutely.
To the situation. I think that, man, I was just Googling, man. I mean, when you talk about human rights, man, basic human rights is the right to life, liberty, and the security of person. All right.
Okay.
And so when you say security of persons, and liberty and life, man, that includes access. And I think that in America right now, there's a wall being thrown up, for access. Yes, some things are accessible, but when you talk about access, access starts with truth. access starts with historics. And so therefore, I believe that, when you raise that gap between not only generations, but wealth gaps, man, access changes.
Yeah, the window does
what I'm
get
saying?
a lot.
The window of people,
Yeah.
and it just makes it harder, especially for a community that may be based upon their culture ignorance.
So from a business perspective, right?
Yeah.
Because we've been talking about business today.
Yeah.
A little bit
So from a business perspective, if we have all of this new technology, which I'm not against it,
Mhm.
AI, because of the students and where we're going at in this world, I was saying they're not prepared the country or all of the people in the labor world for this.
Yeah.
We're gonna need jobs.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
if we as civilians and residencies, if we don't have the money and job to spend as consumers,
Correct.
then how the business is going to be able to take care of
Progress
themselves?
and grow. You're right, man. It has to start. Example, we talk about financial literacy. When we were in elementary school and middle school or high school, we didn't get those lessons, right? You kind of got a little bit of that you need to say, do this from your parents. And you really didn't learn about financial literacy until you got kind of on your own.
Yeah.
And you had to learn things the hard way.
Right.
Mhm.
So with that same thought process of now it's in schools. Now you have kids in middle school, high school taking finance classes.
Yeah.
And financial literacy classes. So that same idea has to be introduced to, as far as AI and technology, starting at the elementary level, to the middle school, to the high school level. And then, once the principles of those things are learned, then you have a transition from each level of, I would say, elementary education to the collegiate, to where you have certain jobs and internships that have maybe turned over their workforce from it being 90%, 100%, human, and then they deployed, 30, 45, 50% to AI. Well, that starts creating the opportunity to have that transition from high school to the workforce, or from college to the workforce. And when you're talking about just speaking on AI or in robotics, I think that's kind of where it needs to start.
Man, the Matrix is coming. The Matrix is coming, man. I can see people plugged in to things. We already plugged in.
Right.
I mean, we plugged into our devices, but the Matrix is coming. Like, that's the reality of everything. The Matrix is coming.
Hey, well, fellas, listen, we are about to get to the close of this episode, and it's always a pleasure to talk and bring things to the light that we kind of see on a daily basis and have a conversation about it, right? We started off talking about, hey, we want to talk about us, right? We kind of veered the course.
That's a long episode.
Yeah, that's a very long episode.
I think we have to break it up. We got to talk about business one, sports, community.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do all of
so I
them.
think we hit all points.
Yeah. We did.
And gave some good substance to our actual audience as well. So any last thoughts, man? And we'll save that for another episode, as far as
absolutely
who we are, our journey, our experiences, and our military path.
I just want, I love America, and I served America, but I just want America to stop with the fear, support freedom, and live in faith.
See, I would say America is America. Regardless of how it became America, we here.
Yes.
So what we need to do is the land of opportunity, like you said, life, pursue happiness, liberty, and freedom.
Yes.
So we it's not as difficult as we make it. The prejudice and different things that we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis does not have to be this way. We can have everybody can live pretty good to a point to where people are financially stable to take care of themselves. So I would say that we need to do better at making sure everybody has better opportunity.
No.
And I'll say this right here, that I truly believe that the opportunities are out there. Most definitely the fear of missing out, or FOMO, of missing out on opportunities, that if you have the ability to go after these opportunities, don't let them pass you by.
Yeah.
All right. There are a lot of resources out here. And if you don't know how to get to the resources, at least start with your city or the county that you're in, and you'll get kind of navigational tools or where to go. So don't think that you're out here alone and you can't go after what you pursue. Sometimes you just need a blueprint. Sometimes you just need a source to kind of point you in that direction. And so we're hoping that here at Press Release Podcast, that if you have a fear of not being able to move forward and get ahead, hey, tap into us. All right. You can reach us on all of our social medias, which is Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Also, you can hear us on Spotify and on Apple Music. And, engage with us, connect with us. Because we want to hear from you. We want to talk to you. We want to hear what you have to say. And if there's anything that we can do, right, as far as serving our audience, serving our community, that's what we're all about.
Absolutely.
That's why one of the main reasons that we're doing this podcast. So as we all do say always in due fashion, as we close out, listen, if you are pressed out there in this world,
release.
Just release. Tap into us again next time. Press Release Podcast. We're signing off. Peace.